For your convenience, we will upload it probably within 48 hours from the end of this, and we will send you the link to download it if you wish. Again, I would like to thank you for joining the webinar. We expect to finish within, let's say, 50 minutes at most. And without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Professor Salomon, part of the team that invented LIPITEAR at the University of Tel Aviv in Israel, and he will start the presentation. So thank you very much for joining, and I wish you the best.
We want to present you the qualities and the properties which make LIPITEAR a special product for treating dry eye and helping the cornea to return after any assault to a complete corneal epithelial recovery. So, as you see, LIPITEAR eye drops is an emulsion, is a unique emulsion regarding the components, and we'll talk later about that. And the main goal is to lubricate the eye in severe and medium dry eye conditions. And under the protection of LIPITEAR, the epithelium recovers in quite short time to a level of normal epithelium. Much more, quite rapidly, all the symptoms of LIPITEAR, when we put the LIPITEAR in the symptoms of red eye, itching, burning, photophobia, all the known symptoms of dry eye, in quite short time, LIPITEARs completely exclude them from existing. As you see, the product, it coming in a box of 20 mono units, unique dose. And the ingredients, as you can see, are phospholipids and medium chain lipids. It's preservative free. And the important point is that you do have on the market products, but this one, LIPITEAR, the unique component that doesn't exist in others is the lipids, and they are doing the main function in creating a normal tear film in these dry eye conditions. So all the surgeries that implies assault to the corneal epithelium, refractive surgeries, of course, in the first place, but even other surgeries like cataract or corneal transplants in existing still methods of surgery that imply a recovery of the epithelium. So the epithelium, as I said, recovers quickly, and the pains after refractive surgery are ceasing away quite in a fast period of time. So the main concept of LIPITEAR is to reconstruct the tear film in the normal composition of superior external layer, the oil, internal one, the water, and the inner one, the mucus. The LIPITEAR is reconstructing quickly and creating a normal tear film. Other drugs are do lubrication too, but they don't restore in the same way the LIPITEAR, as I said before. Here you can see the components and the pictures describing the condition, the upper figures, when the dry eye exists and you put the drops. The drops are creating quickly, the emulsion is arranging itself to the normal form of the tear film as you see down. You see up the structure of the lipids and the phospholipids we are covering around, middle chain in the middle. So you can see after a turbulence application of the drops, at last we arrive to the normal form of the tear film, the lipid up, the water under, and the mucus in the inner side. So you can see conclusively that the formulation of tears allows the complete restoration of tear film in its normal stratified structure formed by lipids, water, and mucus. And this quality results in prolonged relieving effect of severe dry symptoms. So you can see the materials are now components which are not from any animal source, only for plants, and is needed by the European pharmaceutical guidelines, and it forms an elastic lipid shield covering the surface and helping the epithelium to recover quickly. Here you can see the other products on the market and the explanation of each one is doing. And as you can see, the main qualities of LIPITEAR accelerates the epithelialization process after ocular surgery, reduces typical dry symptoms, and restores the natural tear film. So as we'll resume again, the competitive products are doing lubrication, are relieving dry symptoms, but maybe longer time until they arrive to the same condition. And they are lubricants based on different materials, and only few do have phospholipids of one kind, but not lipids as we have in the LIPITEARs. And the influence of LIPITEAR on the epithelium is a major and important factor in anterior segment surgery. The product is fabricated in Italy by Tubilux, and at the beginning, when they prepared the drops for being a medication, they did in Italy some clinical studies. But previous to that, we did laboratory research on rabbits in which dry eye condition was created especially to evaluate the potential of this lipid mixture that we thought about. And the results on the rabbits definitely show complete recovery of the damaged epithelium. Severe keratitis and erosions were quickly recovered by the epithelium. And when we did a control group with actual at that time artificial tears, the recovery of the epithelium was poor, thin epithelium, and the recovery of the epithelium treated with the mixture with lipids was faster and completely normal, natural 3-layered cells. They did also, as you can look, we have, this are the rabbits experiments, and you can look and see on the right side of the epithelium, you can see epithelium, thin epithelium, done with artificial tears, which were used then at that time. And on the left side of the picture, histological picture, down, at the right side down, you can see 3-layered normal epithelium. These are rabbits, and you can see the same thing when you look to the pictures of the cornea. Down on the left, you can see on the left side a complete, clear, nice cornea. On the right side, keratitic epithelium with topography, which is show you is an incomplete recovery. Then we have some clinical study in Italy in which LIPITEAR was used and hyaluronic acid was the control use. And again, there's a difference in time of healing, shorter time of healing of the cornea with LIPITEAR than the cornea with hyaluronic. So it is more effective than hyaluronic acid, 0.2%, in the reducing signs and symptoms in patients who underwent PRK. And you can see here the diagram showing heel on the left, helodrops, on the side, LIPITEAR drop. Here we describe the dry eye, the symptoms, the visual disturbance, and what we talked about. Again, the objectives of our studies, all the studies, was to assess efficacy, safety, and tolerance in symptoms suffering from dry eye. And again, there were, as you say, 50 patients, 50 eyes. And again, the same grading of the symptoms in the beginning and at the end. And here we have the graphs of always, it's LIPITEAR is up, is a blue one, and the hyaluronic acid is a red one. And you can see the difference always between the hyaluronic acid and the LIPITEAR, which always is under and loud and shorter than the hyaluronic acid.
These are the current, this is Yaron speaking now. These are the current studies that were made about the product. We're also now involved in a number of additional studies about the product as well. I'd like to address a few issues that raised sometimes in our discussions. As you may know, we brand LIPITEAR as really I would say, a high-end product because of its the ingredients and mechanism, and you can see really basically the technology that is based in the product. I'd like maybe to raise one question, and we can open the chat box for other questions. Is really just to talk a bit about the differences between other products, not necessarily naming names, but the difference in LIPITEAR that it has the unique formula here allowing this. Many of the other products that you may be aware of are doing part of the solution for dry eye syndrome. As Professor mentioned, there's a need really not only for lubrication, but also for other ingredients. And I'd like Professor Salmon maybe to touch about that, about the three main elements of dry eye and how LIPITEAR helps to tackle them in its formula.
We resume again doing the studies in preclinical studies on rabbits. We found the element of fast recovery of the epithelium created in a dry eye condition, which definitely show you that it protects the epithelium and it gives an option to the epithelium to recover faster and better. And this was a discovery which was very interesting, and I find it different. I don't know if in other products I didn't find mentioning that benefit of LIPITEAR. And all the symptoms that we know, itching, redness, tear, photophobia, and so on, were shorter by the LIPITEAR in time and in severity. And I believe it's still, because the component is unique, maybe there is the answer why it is better. And definitely in the preclinical studies that we did in our hospital, at the beginning, severe cases that didn't get any relief under usual treatments of different artificial tears and different gels. These were the patients that came to the study hoping that will be relieved, and the LIPITEAR relieved them, and the dry eye symptoms were disappeared under the treatment of LIPITEAR. Basically, you have to understand that the oil part of the tear film, it is a factor which prevents the water to evaporate quickly from the eye, the water part of the tears. So in many cases, if you look well and you make the break-up time evaluation and not Schirmer. In Schirmer, we are counting and evaluating the quantity of the water part of the tears. So break-up time, it is the parameter that must be evaluated to find out if the oil part, and when the break-up time is 2, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, it means that there is not enough oil, or the quality of the oil of the meibomian glands is not good enough to keep the tears stable on the cornea between each blink time. That's the benefit, and that's the difference between lubrication only alone, and that's the big point of LIPITEAR.
Following up on that, the fact that we have, it's not only lubrication, it's really the added value of the product. Professor Salmon, if you can maybe touch upon the healing of the epithelium.
Yes, as I said before, as we understand that refractive surgery is the assault against epithelium, and we have to understand very easy that it will help people for following surgeries. Of course, PRK, but even LASIK, if it's still used, will help the healing of the epithelium that will be much better than only lubricating it.
This is really following a question in the chat box. The main indications for dry eye and post-refractive surgery and cataract surgery. These are the current main indications of the product, of LIPITEAR. And we see, for example, in this study, and we have, if I'm mistaken, another one that we can share here in the PRK study of the effectiveness of using LIPITEAR following PRK and such surgeries. That is why when we talk to our partners, we focus on the fact that LIPITEAR has a diversity or a wide range of indications, which allows for a wide range of possibilities in each prospective market. Dry eye is maybe the biggest market, but we are all well aware that it's also a very crowded market. And as part of the educational process each market needs, there is a way to have flexibility and start maybe with post-refractive surgery or post-cataract surgery, and then cataract surgery, and then dry eye or other types of combination. What we see in a number of countries around the world where we are selling is that some countries, some of our partners are selling LIPITEAR in the optometrist office because the optometrist is the one that is dealing with dry eye with patients. Others are selling it in the pharmacies, in chains around the country, and are also in touch, obviously, with doctors that help circulate and educate the market where the patients go then to the chain and buy the product. And we also have places where it is sold in private clinics where they actually do refractive and cataract surgery, and they provided LIPITEAR as a post-op, as part of their post-op kit. So the combination of indications and the really results in a wide range of possibilities for each prospective market. In the best way for that market is to grow the product and to grow the brand. And this is an important point about LIPITEAR, which is, I think, makes it very unique in that process. I'd like to also address one question that is coming. One thing, currently we're having the product in unit dose vials, 20 vials in each box. We are scheduled maybe next year, mid-next year, to switch to multi-dose bottles as well. I don't know if any of you have any preferences, but this is something on our roadmap. The mechanism, the formula, and so on will obviously stay the same. As I don't know if all of you have seen the product itself, but as you can maybe see here, it has some kind of, the look is a bit different. That is because of the different ingredients within it, which is very unique to it. And other than that, as you can see, it is registered as a medical device in Europe, and it will maintain like this even after the change in regulation that is coming very soon. I'd like to ask now the audience if you have any questions to write in the chat box. Please do it now. We'll be happy, Professor Samuel will be happy to answer them. Okay. Okay, I think I'm not seeing, at least in the chat, any additional further questions. Really to summarize, oh, there's a question. Which type or brand of bottle will be the new multi-dose PN? This is something that we are finalizing in these really coming days. as you may be well aware, there are a few very known brands of bottles for multi-dose units. It will be one of those two. I'm hesitant at this point to mention which one because we haven't yet made the decision, but it will be one of the known brands, and we will make a decision very soon. Regarding for all eye surgery, so the main indication is really for post-refractive surgery and cataract surgery. Solomon, if you'd like to
let me say about cataract and patients. Of course, methods of surgery are changing fast. Today, in most developed, very developed countries, cataract is done by very small opening. So this is less important, but I do believe that in many other countries, there still is a wide opening in sutures. There will be necessary and better to give the LIPITEAR because there will help the scar to close and better and solid normal epithelial form. And I want to mention a very important, even it is an orphan, let's say, disease, but spontaneous erosion of cornea, which is a disease in which the adhesion between the corneal epithelium and the basal membrane under it is weak. It is a very unpleasant disease, and my experience in my first clinical study, I had 3 people with spontaneous corneal erosion who they tried anything on the market, even also superficial laser shaping, thinking about renew of epithelium in a better way, didn't help. And by LIPITEAR, after a very short time, it disappeared completely. And these people, I didn't see them more after a short time of follow-up.
Another question came in that it's more of a regulatory question. If we have preclinical and clinical studies as a drug registration requirement, this is actually something that we are checking at the moment. We are not basically where at least for Europe, we have it under, as I mentioned, as a medical device. Regarding registration as a drug, this is something that we are looking into it also in other countries such as China. And we're trying to see what will be the best way of going ahead with this. We got this question from a number of potential partners from Asia and also from Russia, and that's definitely something that we are looking at. And we will get back to you as soon as we get answers. We are involving our manufacturer as well to see what can be done in that regards. Are there any other questions maybe that you would like to address about the product, the mechanism, the formula, the studies that we went through?
That's right. I said, yes.
Commenting on
yes, the LIPITEAR, as I said, this composition is the only one. There are some who have one of them, but not together.
This is referring to the question whether LIPITEAR is the only product with phospholipid and triglyceride. And as mentioned, to the best of our knowledge, it is. Some products have one, but not the other. The LIPITEAR is really nanotechnology at its best. It was developed again at Tel Aviv University in Israel. And this is why we believe, LIPITEAR, and we haven't mentioned it, but I'll just briefly mention, LIPITEAR was actually marketed a number of years ago under a different name, LipiMix. It was then bought by a very known pharmaceutical company that, for its own reason, took it off the market, and we at iOptima obtained the rights for the product a couple of years ago, and are branding it now under a different name. The product is the same, and when it was marketed back then, it was really the competitors weren't as high as they are today, and it gained quite fast a very nice market share. Today, if you go to, and you know this probably better than I do, when you go to the pharmacies and you go to the store, you'll see many products for dry eye. But for this specific formula and ingredients, LIPITEAR, despite the years, is still the only product out there that has this unique formulation, and as such, the unique possibilities.
Percentage of dry eye is connected with two parameters. Is geographic exposure, because dry eye will be a very often found in population which are exposed to sun and desert regions, dry air and sun. And the second, I don't know, my colleagues, if they did some statistic of their own, and I believe that they can do it very easy. My personal impression is that the big population suffering of dry eye are women after the menopause, and it seems to be the biggest part of the population suffering of dry eye, from a medium to very severe conditions. So I do believe it might be, I call it the geographical ophthalmology. That means you can find assaults and diseases of anterior segment. When I say dry eye, also pterygium is of course a result of exposure to sun and ultraviolet light, and all the people with pterygium do have also a problem with the tear quality, and it depends in which part of the planet you are living, if you are attacked or defended from dry eye condition. As about the patient experience, I don't have statistics done everywhere and nowhere, because I don't know, there were not any. Myself experience, not published, but to answer the question about, until now I treated personally about some hundreds of people, and only 2 cases I have of 2 women who came to me back, and this is a period of about 6 years already treated people. Only 2 cases out of some hundreds, 800 or 900 people, came back and said there is discomfort, that she couldn't tell me what kind, but there's discomfort. And the second woman said that her eyes seems to be allergic. So this is, as far as now, my knowledge about the percentage of problems with LIPITEAR, which I can say 0.02%.
Just to expand on that, from our experience, from our partners, we have not received any complaint or anything like that from patients about any side effects or anything like that.
The treatment, it depends on the severity of the condition. When a case is very severe, which means breakup time of 3 seconds, 4 seconds maximum, these cases must start treatment 4 times a day, and they'll slowly, after each control visit, according to the findings, symptoms, I start to diminish the treatment. I can tell you that some people that I know, they are continuing for years the treatment at a limit of 2 times a day, not under it, and they continue all these years. Some of them, few of them, let's say about 40% are continuing all these years I started with them. Others are taking the LIPITEAR at least once a day, and few, I don't know if they didn't come and disappeared, if they are continuing or not. This is only by my thoughts at this moment to answer the question. This will, I thank you to the question, because I will start to do my statistics coming to the people who will start. I'll do statistic to find out. But let's say at least 40% for 3 years, 4 years, still they are continuing to take the drops.
I think we will wrap up in, let's say, up to 5 minutes. So if any of you have any additional questions, please feel free to write them in the chat box now. Otherwise, we will be closing the session. You are more than welcome to reach us by email. You all have Emily's email address. If any questions do come up after the call, feel free to email it to Emily, and we will get back to you with a reply. This recording of the webinar will also be uploaded, and you will receive a link to it if you would like to record it. We will do probably in a few months' time another webinar, and we will get back to you. We'll send you the details if you'd like to join again or have someone else from your team joining. Another question came. Yes, there is a patent from when the inventors invented the product. In that regards. I can also say that the protection that we have about the product is not only as such in the kind of normal ways, but the product, because of the ingredients and so on, and the formula, this is not an easy product to manufacture. There are not many manufacturers around the world that have the capability to manufacture this, which says a lot about the product and about the manufacturing process and the process that we are going to provide it. So this is another layer, a practical layer, I would say, of protection. Any other questions that you would like to address about the product, the formula, patients, process with us, maybe with iOptima? Well, if there are no other questions, I'd like to thank you again for joining. Thank you. We know it's the end of the day for some of you it's the beginning. So we thank you again for coming to our webinar with Professor Salomon. As mentioned, we will email you a recording of the presentation. And if you'd like to ask any questions, feel free to contact us. You have Emily's address, and you also have here now my details if you'd like. We'll be happy to hear from you. And other than that, we wish you a pleasant rest of the day wherever you are. Thank you very much and have a great day.